What's up, everybody? TonyPizzaGuy here, back again with another video, and today I'm actually on the road, but I figured what I needed to do is put up a video that will talk about some of the greatest and the worst moments in WWE of 2017. Now, I want to do like a full face video, but like I said, again, I'm on the road, gonna go see some family and hang out for New Year's Eve, so I'm gonna have to do this video the way I'm doing it now. So today, we're not gonna waste any time. We're gonna look at the top, best, and worst things in WWE 2017. First off, we're going to take a look at the worst 5 things in WWE this year. This is either moments or big things that happened the entire year. Starting off first, we're looking at the Undertaker versus Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania. Now, this match just wasn't up to standards that people wanted. They wanted to have the Undertaker and Roman Reigns put on a decent match. This is what people wanted, but I don't think this was actually the match that everybody wanted. Now, going into this, everybody thought that Roman Reigns was going to look like the big dog and come out on top, but it made the Undertaker look like a chump. He looked very, very old, and it just made me not want to see the Undertaker wrestle anymore. This was one of those moments where I was kind of cringing after the match was over, and I said, that was it? Undertaker and Roman Reigns could have been so much better, but I don't know if it was Roman's fault, Taker's fault, or maybe it should have just been a different opponent for the Undertaker and put Roman Reigns somewhere else. I don't know. But I will say, honestly, that match was probably one of the worst, and it just soured me on the Undertaker. So I will say, number 5, Undertaker and Roman. For a long time, we've been wondering who is going to be Sister Abigail. Is it going to be Paige? There was rumors that Paige was going to come back and be Sister Abigail. But it was revealed that Bray Wyatt, indeed himself, is Sister Abigail. Now, this is going to be on the worst list because it was very cringy and we never really got a payoff of it. So what they gave us looked really, really stupid. So around the time he was feuding with Finn Balor was Bray Wyatt. He actually got sick with this viral meningitis that was going around the locker room. And it turned out that Bray Wyatt actually couldn't fight the demon Finn Balor. So they had to replace him with AJ Styles, which turns out to be an honorable mention for one of the best moments is Finn Balor and AJ Styles wrestling. But Bray Wyatt was supposed to wrestle as Sister Abigail against the demon Finn Balor. The match never came out, but what came out of it was Bray Wyatt had a fishnet on his head and he was now Sister Abigail. Then Bray Wyatt comes back after that viral meningitis and they make no mention of it. I think it's just a dumb moment that could have had an awesome payoff, but they never went back to it and it just looks silly on paper now. Coming in at number 3 on my list of the worst moments in WWE this year has to be Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan as my black son. Now, the thing about it is I don't hate Jason Jordan. I just don't think that he should have been my black son. The reason being is I think that Chad Gable would have been a better fit for Kurt Angle's illegitimate son. I think it would have been a great story because Chad Gable, if there was this video package that just was up on his Twitter the other day and he was talking about wrestling. I think he was training with Dan Gable at like collegiate wrestling, and I just bought into the whole Chad Gable thing there. So I think Jason Jordan could be a great one. I don't think he really needed Kurt Angle as his father. And if you're going to have Kurt Angle as your father, you have to be like one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, or you could be a complete disappointment. There's either 2 ways to go about it, and I just don't think he lands somewhere in the middle as like, he's okay, but he's not the best, but he's decent. He's not great. And his mic skills just aren't up to par yet. I know that Jason Jordan's awesome. I just don't think this role of him being Kurt Angle's son really does much for him. And I just didn't like the angle overall. Some of the worst things that happened to some of the greatest people. And that is the NXT Stars on the main roster. And I think they have not done it justice. I mean, Ty Dillinger came in at number 10 in the Royal Rumble, had a big moment there. And you were thinking, okay, Ty Dillinger is finally on the main roster. And now he's literally like non-existent in WWE. And now there's guys that are on the roster as well. We have Nakamura and Bobby Roode who are going to be part of that. Guys who really just aren't doing anything. I know that there's time for Bobby Roode and there's time for Nakamura, but as far as 2017 goes, they kind of just fell into the main roster on SmackDown and kind of are just there. They're just kind of another piece to the SmackDown roster. They're not really special and unique like Nakamura was or Bobby Roode is with his glorious stuff. And another thing going on is the women's division. They just threw in the Riot Squad and Absolution, and they just threw those women in there in the women's division, and it just feels like they're just doing that so they can have the Royal Rumble, and then after the Rumble, they can throw some of those girls back down on NXT. So it just kind of feels that the NXT stars didn't really do much. Like I said, Ty Dillinger are non-existent. Bobby Roode and Nakamura just feel like another piece on SmackDown. Like it could be Dolph Ziggler. Like Bobby Roode just fits into that same category. Baron Corbin, and then Nakamura. So, and then the women's division again. It just they just threw it in. And I just feel like NXT people are so good when they're in NXT, and then they just come up to the main roster and they just don't get their justice. And the worst thing of the entire year has to be the Alexa Bliss-Bayley feud. The whole feud just buried Bayley. Alexa Bliss pretty much bullied her. And then they did the This Is My Life segment, which goes down as worst segment in WWE history. At least in 2017, that was. They embarrassed her. They made her look like a chump. And then she wrestled and lost to Alexa Bliss. There was no redemption for her. And it just made Bayley look awesome. You could have made Bayley look awesome, I mean, but they didn't. They never gave her that redemption after that. If you're going to have one of the worst segments of all time and not even redeem Bayley after getting bullied, it just doesn't work well for me. I like Alexa Bliss. I like Bayley. I feel like they're great in their own elements, but this together, them in this program, was one of the worst of all time in 2017. All right, now let's look at some of the top things in the WWE for 2017. So first off, I want to take a look at two things, number 5 and number 4, that are going to go hand in hand, which I will say is TakeOver Chicago had some of the greatest moments. Now, we had the UK tournament, which took place earlier in the year, and then Tyler Bate won the inaugural UK championship. And then we had Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, which probably is the best match of the entire year at TakeOver Chicago. And I will say that Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate are huge stars, and they've carried that rivalry over till even the last defense of the UK title in NXT for the WWE, which was at just an NXT show, and they still had an amazing match. Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, both going to be huge stars. I love the UK tournament. I hope they do more with the UK championship. I was about to take the UK championship and put it on the worst list because of just how they haven't utilized it properly. But I do think that Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Wolfgang, they're all awesome wrestlers, and they're great. And the UK tournament has opened me up to some of the greatest wrestlers in the UK that I probably never would have known about. So I have to give that number 5 on the list. It's just the UK tournament, the rise and the flourishing of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. And I think Pete Dunne's going to be a huge star. I think Tyler Bate could be a huge star. I feel like if they can capitalize on this, we can have something great. And number 4, we were talking about TakeOver Chicago. We're going to talk about the rise of Johnny Gargano. And we got to talk about the fall of Johnny Gargano, where he actually broke up with DIY Tommaso Ciampa. And that is the end of them. Now they're going their separate ways. Ciampa's actually injured. And Johnny Gargano kind of, after this breakup, he kind of took a nosedive, kind of went down, 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 down. And then finally on NXT, he is now the new #1 contender for the NXT championship. And I think this is just a great story. And this is a story that I bought into, is Johnny Gargano as that true underdog. I feel like Johnny Gargano could be a top face in the WWE if he gets that Daniel Bryan moment. I think on the main roster, he could definitely do it. I feel like he's the perfect guy for it. Hopefully they continue the Ciampa and Gargano feud going into 2018, because I think that would be great. But honestly, Johnny Gargano, like the whole interweaving of the NXT story and them breaking up, and then if they continue to bring that back into 2018, I feel like this is going to be like just an awesome moment, because Johnny Gargano at one point in his career was like, I don't know if I'm even fit for NXT, and now he's back where he is. So it's great. All right, number 3, we're going to take a look at some of the best moments, and we definitely have a moment here, and that is the Festival of Friendship with Jericho and Kevin Owens. This was just a great in-ring segment with Chris Jericho reinventing himself again and again and again, and then Kevin Owens turning on Chris Jericho, and that's just one of the greatest moments there when he gives him the list of KO, and then he's like, wait, why is my name on it? Boom, turns him over, and it was just great. I can't say anything more great about this other than you should go watch the Festival of Friendship. It is one of, like, it's an awesome moment. He has paintings. He has all these statues. Like, it's just a great moment in WWE history, and this is like Chris Jericho again surprising me with another great moment. It's so awesome. Number 2, we're going to take a look at one of the great moments in promo form, and that is John Cena versus Roman Reigns contract signing. Now, this is awesome because the promo is a promo, and it seems unscripted, whether it is or not, but they do no favors to Roman Reigns here. Roman Reigns gets exposed to the maximum capacity that everybody thought he was, not a great talker, and Cena ended up burying him and exposing him and saying, "Yo, kid, it's a promo. Come on, say your next line. Hey, I'm breaking the fourth." It was just phenomenal. John Cena coming out and saying, "You know what? If I was having that golden shovel and burying the talent, why don't you think I'd be in the main event of WrestleMania?" And that was just golden right there. And I think there's a lot of great moments from that Roman Reigns, John Cena. And there were other moments where they had promos back and forth, but nothing was as good as this one, where they called each other out and John Cena basically just buried Roman Reigns. And it really made me like Cena more and hate Roman Reigns, but Roman just didn't hold up his end of the bargain. So, you know what? I think it was great. I don't know if it was great for Roman Reigns and making him look weak. I think it did, but honestly, I really loved it. And my number 1 favorite thing of the year is Braun Strowman. That's right. Braun Strowman is the big guy I didn't know I wanted. His match at SummerSlam of 2017 should have been the moment for Braun Strowman where he wins the Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar. This was a guy who took it to Brock Lesnar like no one else has taken it to Brock Lesnar, and Braun Strowman is just a huge monster in the WWE. Of course, they had to put him against people like Kane and Big Show to kind of just continue to build on his, hey, I'm the biggest guy thing, which kind of sidelined him from what I liked about him. But in the end, it's all fine because I understand where they're going, where they're like, okay, we have to make him go against the big old guys in the company to put his status as I am the top big guy in the company. I get it. I understand how they're doing it. So I get with that. But I think Braun Strowman has been phenomenal just throughout the entire year from all the awesome stuff he's been doing. And Braun Strowman, again, he was a guy who was a part of the Wyatt family, and you kind of felt like he was going to kind of fade away when the Wyatt family broke up, because there's like few moments that go in and out. Like, you know, you see guys and they're like, well, they're not doing so good, and they're not. And like Luke Harper and Eric Rowan are kind of like, they were good and then they were taken back and then they weren't, or whatever. But Braun Strowman this year has shown he's amazing, and he should be Universal Champion. I hope that one day he takes down Brock Lesnar, takes that Universal title, because I think he would be a great champion. And the fact that they had the man flip over an ambulance on Monday Night Raw just puts him over the top. Like, and then his match with Roman Reigns and the ambulance match at Great Balls of Fire. I'm just telling you, the Roman Reigns doing what he did to get killed by Braun Strowman and to get flipped over in the ambulance, and then the dude, it was just amazing. I can't even say any more good things about Braun Strowman this year. He was like one of the favorite things to watch on Monday Night Raw. He's literally what I want in a monster, what I want out of a big character. He's like a big character. He's awesome. He does great things. He has great matches. And again, like I said, that SummerSlam, I still think he should have won that WWE Universal Champion. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Happy New Year. This is the best of 2017 and the worst of 2017. Let me know if I missed anything on the list, or is it something that I should continue to think about? What was maybe worse than what I put on there? What do you think is good? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you for 2017 and making this a phenomenal year. And that's where we'll leave it for today. As always, I'm TonyPizzaGuy, and we'll see you in 2018.